Resetting relationship with China will be difficult, experts say. Welcome back to Canada Bulletin. So, you know how some relationships are complicated? Like, it's not you, it's me complicated? Well, Canada and China are about to have the most awkward reunion dinner of the century. And spoiler alert, someone's bringing tariffs as party favors. Buckle up, because this diplomatic dance is messier than a Tim Hortons lineup on Roll Up the Rim Day. Prime Minister Mark Carney is about to attempt something that experts are calling diplomatic gymnastics on a tightrope over a pit of economic chaos. And honestly, they're not being dramatic enough. Canada wants to reset relations with China, but here's the catch. Beijing wants us to drop our 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. Canada wants China to stop punishing our canola farmers. And the United States is watching this whole thing like a jealous ex at a wedding. Oh, and did I mention we're supposed to do all this without compromising our human rights values or ticking off Donald Trump? No pressure, right? Let's break down this geopolitical Jenga game where every wrong move could cost billions. First up, let's talk about the farmers caught in the crossfire because nothing says international diplomacy quite like using crops as weapons. Picture this. 40,000 canola farmers across Western Canada wake up one day to find their second largest market, worth a cool $4.9 billion, just vanished. Poof, gone. Like your motivation on a Monday morning. Except this actually costs tens of thousands of dollars per farmer. Here's what happened. Back in mid-2024, Canada slapped a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs. China, being China, said, "Oh, you want to play that game?" and hit back with 100% tariffs on Canadian canola oil, meal, and peas. Then they added 25% on seafood and pork for good measure. And just when you thought they were done, they dropped a 75.8% duty on canola seed itself. It's basically the trade war equivalent of, you hurt me, so I'm going to hurt everyone you care about. Petty? Absolutely. Effective? Unfortunately, yes. Margaret McQuaig-Johnston from the University of Ottawa puts it bluntly. China is essentially using our canola farmers against us. It's economic hostage-taking with a side of agricultural chaos. And our farmers are paying the price while politicians play chess. But wait, why are we even fighting about electric vehicles in the first place? Great question. Let's plug into this mess. China's message is crystal clear. Drop your EV tariffs, and we'll drop our canola tariffs. Simple trade, right? Well, not exactly. Because if Canada blinks first on EVs, we're basically telling China, hey, economic coercion works. Please do this again. And experts say they will do it again. McQuaig-Johnston warns, if we crumple on EVs, they will do it immediately on other issues like critical minerals, access to our Arctic, or silence on Taiwan. So we're not just talking about electric cars here. We're talking about setting a precedent that could affect everything from our natural resources to our foreign policy positions. It's like giving into a toddler's tantrum. Sure, the crying stops now, but you've just taught them that screaming gets results. Plus, and this is the kicker, we can't just cave to China while we're in the middle of crucial trade negotiations with the United States. Donald Trump literally told Carney at the White House this month that the U.S. and Canada need to work together to compete with China. Imagine trying to negotiate a peace treaty with one person while your best friend is standing right there saying, "Don't you dare." That's the position Carney is in. University of Toronto economist Peter Morrow calls it who is going to blink first. But honestly, it's more like who can avoid blinking while walking a tightrope blindfolded during an earthquake. So if China's playing hardball and we can't just surrender, what's plan B? Spoiler, involve a lot of frequent flyer miles. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe and Cody Blois, Carney's parliamentary secretary, recently went on a trade mission to Asia. Their stops? South Korea and Japan. China's neighbors who don't hold our agriculture sector hostage. Imagine that. The Business Council of Canada is pushing hard for diversification across the Asia-Pacific, which is basically the international trade equivalent of don't put all your eggs in one basket. Or in this case, don't put all your canola in one market that might weaponize it against you. But here's the thing. Building new trade relationships takes time. You can't just walk into South Korea and say, hey, want to buy $4.9 billion worth of canola? and expect an instant yes. These relationships require years of groundwork, negotiations, quality standards, shipping logistics. It's not a quick fix. Meanwhile, our farmers are bleeding money right now. It's like telling someone whose house is on fire, "Don't worry, we're building you a new house. Should be ready in a few years." Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the giant humanitarian crisis that we're supposed to ignore for the sake of trade deals. Remember when Canada's House of Commons called China's treatment of Uyghurs a genocide in 2022? Yeah, about that. According to Mehmet Todi from the Uyghur Rights Advocacy Project, Canada has been quietly backtracking. They're step-by-step backtracking from those issues, he says. I don't know how low we are going to go. Oh, ouch. That's the sound of our moral high ground eroding in real time. And it gets darker. When China executed 4 Canadians earlier this year, ostensibly for drug offenses, McQuaig Johnston believes that was to send a message to our government about EVs. Let that sink in. We're potentially talking about human lives being used as negotiating leverage. Scheer Apthurchin from the Canada-Tibet Committee warns that our $57 billion trade deficit with China gives them massive leverage to coerce Canada into silence on human rights issues. The more economically dependent we are, the less we can afford to speak up. It's the ultimate moral dilemma. Do you prioritize farmers' livelihoods now, or do you stand firm on human rights principles and risk economic pain? There's no easy answer, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling something. So with all this baggage, what happens when Carney and she finally sit down face to face? Let's game this out. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand was in Beijing last week laying the groundwork for a potential meeting between Carney and Chinese President Xi Jinping before the end of October. This could be the most high-stakes diplomatic coffee chat since, well, ever. But Philip Calvert, a former Canadian diplomat, warns us not to expect fireworks. The public may not see a lot of concrete actions, he says. The point isn't to solve everything in one meeting. It's to send signals through each country's systems. It's diplomatic signaling, not deal-making. Calvert advocates for what he calls a more rational, arm's-length approach. Basically, working with China because we have to, not because we're besties. Think of it like maintaining a professional relationship with that coworker who drives you crazy, but you still need to collaborate with on projects. But here's the problem. Rational and arm's length doesn't help canola farmers pay their bills this month. It doesn't address the immediate economic pain, and it definitely doesn't resolve the tension between economic pragmatism